Welcome back to Tools and Track. The last time we worked on the Locost we put an engine in it. However, I had to wait 2 whole weeks for the clutch kit that I ordered to arrive. That left me with some dead time. So this episode is devoted to that 2-week window where I tried to get as many boring dull jobs out the way as I possibly could. But don't worry, this isn't boring. Today we colour the car. Here's something I can definitely start and finish in one episode. All of the rest of my car slowly not being red. This annoys me. The car's not going to be red when it's finished. Sorry if that's a sneak review to a colour reveal. So let's get this at least flattened back in primer and ready for the proper paint. And while I'm at it, that as well. Paint. Do you think I've maybe given too much away on colour reveal?
Well, it's kind of obvious. Can't really deny that.
Unless I film everything from here on in black and white.
Yeah.
But I don't really think I'm going to do that. Slight spoilers for what's coming up ahead. So, yes, we have two. The big difference being, obviously, that one has been widened, and you know this one hasn't, because it literally fits in the car. Wee reminder, that's how much we've had to widen one of these. But the reason I've pulled this down, don't ask me why I've got two, we just do.
Why do you have multiples of everything?
I don't have multiples of everything.
You do. There's multiple MX-5 engines.
Well, yeah.
Look, there's a collection of gearboxes.
I've got a collection of gearboxes because nobody wants to buy a 5-speed MX-5 box.
True. You do have multiples of everything.
I have multitudes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is multitudes. I have multitudes of these because when I bought all of the Locost stuff, I'm having to explain this to Daniel because he doesn't watch my videos.
I do watch the videos.
Then you would know.
I just don't know why you have multiples of everything that you do.
Because he's not watched that episode. When I bought all of the stuff, right, the guy had this. So that one's designed for a window. So I thought, well, it's butchered already. I'd be as well butchering it more. That one's designed, as you can see, for an aero screen. So I thought, well, if that butchering doesn't work, I've got this. But in fairness, it wouldn't matter anyway because it'd need butchered regardless.
It would have probably been easier just to do that one.
I diverge. It makes no odds. So what we're doing here, we are hiding sins. So I am done with this. As we covered in the previous episode, I can't be arsed anymore. So it looks acceptable. If you ever sit in the car and look in, you're not going to see crimes.
I am.
You can see what you like, I don't care. You're not even going to get to sit in this car because you just don't like them.
I'm going to comment on that every single time that I see that.
This isn't your thing.
Every time I see that ridge, I'm going to be like, I bet you wish you'd sanded that.
Anyway, so we're going to drill this off because there's not a window going on this. So it's going to get an aero screen. So I'm going to try and form that.
I'm not going to try. We're going to form that.
It might fit, so we're going to give it a go. My worry is it won't, but we'll see. So next up, get the drill out. Yeah, so this looks lovely and all, but let's not forget, we have some unfinished business here. bonded that on. We've got a few things we're going to have to address naturally. The first being I'll need to tidy this up because the usual crimes against rubber insulation. But there's also, remember how I always go, I'll deal with that later. I might have inadvertently chopped through this when we were dealing with that.
It's now later.
It's later.
It's now later.
And I now need to deal with my crimes. So that will get flattened out. The whole thing's going to need flattened out anyway, so I'll maybe stick a wee bit of filler in there just to deal with that. Not the worst thing in the world considering the fun we had with this. Easy dealt with. However, 1, 2. Now this took me a wee while to suss out. I was like, I'm sure this was like a good fit before. No, it's not.
Also, how did you get those bolts out?
So those bolts won't come out because there's a shock going away. We'll skip to the end. What I've actually done is made an absolute cod's arse of that. Right? That's what's happened there.
That needs done again.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, these bolts need to come out and go back round. But if you remember a few episodes ago, it was not fun putting these shocks in. So I'm thrilled that we need to do that. But it'll do for now because really what we need to do is flatten this. So I've just bolted it on loosely just so I'm finding doing all these wee panels is really annoying because they move. So we're just going to deal with the dust, flatten this down and paint it. Also, last point of I'll just deal with it later and forgetting all about it. What was all this that I've completely forgot about?
What was that?
Well, I think there's been indicators here when this was a Westfield.
How many indicators?
Well, there's also been indicators in a whole variety of other support bracketry. But if you cast your mind back, the indicators now live underneath the headlights. So, probably follow that in as well. Anyway, this 2-minute job's now going to take the rest of the episode. That's what I was getting at there. So, Daniel Cam. So I'm sitting here in my going home clothes. Brian's listening to Wigfield for Brian reasons. Daniel's working on his race van. Now you might think this is a bit of a departure from what we were just talking about, but there's a reason for it because Daniel's been having a bit of a night with us.
It's nearly done.
It's nearly done, but he's had a fight, so I'm going to provide him some context because, whilst this hasn't went his way, I've had a worse night. Do you want to see what I did?
What?
Come with me.
What did you do?
Come with me and I'll show you. All of yesterday, I was painting the nose cone black. And then all of today, I was painting the nose cone with lacquer. And then tonight, I had to go out and get coolant for van, and I thought I'll put one more quick blast of lacquer on, which I did. And then there was one wee bit, I was like, it's still a bit dusty. So I picked up the lacquer can. There's a lacquer can. So I'm going home.
Oh, that's bad. That's really bad.
It only took me 2 days to get to that point. 2 days. 2 days of just wee bit of paint, let the cold weathers let it set.
Just let it dry and we'll just wet sand it off and polish it.
Or I could put it on the f***ing bin and just buy a Fiat.
Can't believe you done that.
What are you filming? Are you on Twitch or something? Yeah. It's a nice wee haze. It looks like you've ghosted it. You can put a wee... I could flatten it all down and start again.
You could do that.
Because it's primer on lacquer.
I'll just start a wee bit of airbrush in there.
Cat! Right, so here's what the disaster looks like in better light. And to be honest, it's no better. In fact, I've now properly realised the futility of my crimes. What we're going to try, instead of flattening the whole thing back and starting again, which is where I was at, is wet and dry. So when I started this, I've put 3 coats of primer on, 3 coats of black paint on, and now that was the 3rd coat of lacquer. I know this is the front of the car, it's going to get chipped, so I wanted a lot of layers on here. That actually might be the Hail Mary for this, because if I just take a light skim with sandpaper, I'm just hopefully removing 1 layer of lacquer, and there'll still be enough for me to just blast lacquer back on this without the paint coming off. So as you can see, that's pretty much just working like a lap. It takes just the thinnest layer off, flattens everything down, does more flattening really than it does removing of paint. But what we've got here is that dull satin black, which is what we painted, finish. But I've still got a couple of wee valleys where it looks like the primer's sitting in, and I'm worried that if I go too far down with this, we're going to start taking black off. So it's nice and smooth. But against my better judgment, I'm probably going to try just a very light blast of satin black again. Just into these areas where it's still a bit white. Get it all one uniform colour, and then start hitting the lacquer back on it. If you cast your mind back to when I did the rocker covers and the TVR, and we did the black crinkle paint thing, remember how I just couldn't make the finish happen? Whatever this was, but it's yeah, I've had enough of this. I think it might be time to just scrub it all off and start again. That's some beautiful wrist action there, Brian. I like that. So we're preheating the lacquer. As you can see, we've actually got away with it. I flattened down those ripples and it's now looking like a nice well keyed bit of nose cone. So you can see the dull bits are where we're flattened back. I'm hoping that the lacquer is going to actually take to this since we've flattened it down. What I think might happen is it won't, in which case I'll hang myself, but it should. So last touch, re-lacquer and pray we've got away with it. I don't mean to speak out of turn, but I think I've got away with that. So I'm going to let it dry and finish the last bit for this episode. The last piece in the puzzle for the steering rack saga is the reapplication of the original smart gaiters that go between the ball joint to the rod going to the hub. So great, except the ones that came with the rack are plastic. Easy fixed, with some new rubber ones. That sounded really, really creepy, and I don't know why. Right, so what we've managed to do here is finish all the steering drama, finish all of the bolt drama, and finish all the wheel bearing drama, and obviously find some more. Yeah, it spins. It span before.
But it spins nice now.
It spins
nice now.
So we're just about to wrap up because obviously this still hasn't arrived, but we covered the actual fitment of that in the previous episode. But we haven't. Obviously, we found
It's
no problems.
minor issue.
Minor issue. That being the frankly disgusting amount of camber on both sides of the
It's quite bad. It's quite bad.
So, naturally, in order to get these off, I've had to do the whole thing with the fight of getting them on and off, and it's made me think, why am I fighting with this? Because it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that. I ended up taking this out because it would be easier just to get the tension off and put the jack under the wheel and jack it back up. And that's when I've noticed something like. These don't have a lot of threads holding them on at all. So if I'm going to dial out camber, i.e. put these straight, I don't even have the threads on that side to do it with. Like that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's still too much camber.
And there's about 2 threads left holding that on.
Yeah, so that's not going to work.
It's really not. So what I've had to do is put a bit of thought because that's going to kill me. We're going to have to possibly either redesign these arms or go back to the drawing board with the adjusters or something else. But this is foreshadowing because in the next episodes, clearly there will be an engine in here because continuity, but we're going to have to look at these arms because it's going to cause pain, misery, death, horror. And I don't actually have an answer as to how I fix it yet. Until next weekend, guys, patreon.com/toolsandtrack because that's why you don't get ads. And if you don't want to do that, like, bell, subscribe and share. Is that right?
I don't know, is it?
It is. Do the share more than other things, in fact. Stop. Hammer time. Anyway, until next weekend, guys, drive safe. So, this is why you don't have a mic.
Sorry. It's like you were building up to it there, and he's just like ruined. That's like, you know, when you go to watch like oh, I'm really enjoying this TV series, and then someone just goes, yeah, that's it.
He dies
This
at the
happens
end.
at the end.
Where the f are we going with this?